after a little bit of a shaky start to the season, he's had a stellar second part to this year, and certainly conceded a few less goals than in that first part of the year. Bradley Chilcott will continue to be the big red rock, Uluru, in the centre of Devonport's defence today, and I dare say Kieran Mulroney will be next to him. The fullbacks you'll see today will be Dommy Smith and Jack Dance, I'm guessing, looking at the lineup. Is that Toddy Hingston into the 11? Yes. Toddy Hingston into the 11, so maybe he'll be at centre half. I'm not sure. That might see Kieran Mulroney on a wing. Obviously, you've got the central three will be Bo Blizzard and Adam Gorry and Bobby Eves. Will continue that little triangle they've had in there. And then out top you'll have Daniel Syson, and then obviously Michael Holden, who's been in some sensational form these past several weeks and has really been lighting up the PS4 Victory League with his skill and pace, and he'll hope to threaten the Olympia Warriors today. He and Luke Isles might be the two players to watch today as they turn it on down their various left-hand flanks. Nico.
Yeah, if you've got a keen eye, Riggy, and you're a big fan of football, down near the entrance, I'm 100% sure, or hopefully I don't get it wrong, but it's Paul Ocon. Have you heard of Paul Ocon before, Rig?
Yeah, 90-odd caps for
90-odd? Wowee. You've done some research, or?
Oh,
no, just off the top of your head. He stands down there. I think Rod Andrews, ever since he got here, he's just sniffed him out and wandered over. But I do believe he's here to watch two very talented young left-footers that you just mentioned, Riggy. I thought I'd add it in there. Luke Isles and Michael Holden, probably the two most talented youngsters in our league. He's here to have a look at them.
He is indeed. We'll get on to the Warriors lineup. And of course, Luke Isles are part of that. It starts at the top. Sean Lewis back in goal for the Warriors. A big boost for them. The American comes back in. Takes the spot of Spiro Paradisus, who's done pretty well standing in for Sean Lewis, but he'll slot back in after that PCL injury. Fabian Gustafsson is next on the list. He's been operating out wide. He's broken into this starting 11, and he was electric last week. He netted a hat-trick and had 4 assists. It was some individual game for the man they call Neymar. Harry Woolley back in the lineup after a couple of weeks holiday thanks to suspension from a red card. He's a hot-headed fullback, and be interesting to see how he goes today back in the lineup. Shay Hickey, who's really the orchestrator of all things for Olympia. He's come into that midfield and just solidified things. Really made a nice partnership alongside Nick Mearns, and Shay Hickey's one to watch. And of course, last week scored an absolute scorcher from range. So hopefully another one of those in store at Valley Road. Luke Isles, the man we were speaking about before, the kid more or less. He's a youngster. He's a rising star. Paul Ocon over there, just here to see his work. I think he'll operate at full back. That's where he was last week, and he was superb, overlapping. He netted 2 goals for his troubles. I'm expecting much the same sort of intensity today. Nick Mearns in midfield, another fine young player for the Warriors. They've produced a few in recent years, and he'll operate in midfield, likely with Shay Hickey and Gavin Hoy. Warren Wadawu, a pretty tenacious sort of character. He'll play out wide, doesn't shoot the issue, doesn't mind a challenge, and he doesn't mind a goal as well. So he'll provide Olympia plenty of width, and he's a very good crosser of the ball. Alex Holmes back at centre back. We know when he strolls forward, Nico loves his work, likes to see him on the end of corners and the like. Emmanuel Sakiris, who shot himself into a bit of form in recent weeks. He didn't look like scoring for about the month prior, but then he netted 6 against Glenorchy Nice, and all of a sudden he's on fire. He netted 2 last week. Gavin Hoy, the Canadian, who's come to Olympia and really linked up magnificently with Fabian Gustafsson. They've built a really good combination, and I'm expecting more of that combination play today, and Jake Van der May in the heart of defence alongside Alex Holmes. Their bench, well, an embarrassment of riches it is. Nick Meredith, the lettuce farmer, on there. Jonathan Griffiths. Lachlan Nichols returns from China. He's had a bit of a kick about. He might be a little bit scratchy, but geez, it's an embarrassment of riches to have a player like Lachlan Nichols just sitting on your pine if you do need him. Along with him is a youngster in Jack Cullen, and of course Spiro Paradisus.
So it looks like, Gilly, for the Devonport Strikers team, the young Brody Dennehy's come out of the 11 for Todd Hingston. I'll be interested to see how the Strikers do line up. There are a couple of possible ways they could line up. You probably tend to favour having Toddy Hingston maybe in at centre back and Kieran Mulroney out wide, unless they do opt for Mulroney at centre back, in which case Bo Blizzard likely goes out from the centre of midfield and Hingston goes in there, and Blizzard plays out wide on the right wing. But we'll see in the whistle, which isn't too far away from glaring around Valley Road to get us underway, about 7 minutes from 2 o'clock, the scheduled kick-off time. Seeing your screens there, the Devonport Strikers sit currently in 7th, and out of that top 6 that Nico was talking about before that will advance into the final series. So still plenty of work for Devonport to do, and even if Olympia are top of the ladder by 5 points, Devonport will give themselves every chance today, particularly at home against what has really been a rampant Olympia side these past few months.
Yeah, you've touched on the ladder there, Rig. It's a very interesting ladder because a result for Devonport could shoot them as high as 4th. It really is a logjam, 4th through 7th. So interesting as far as that's concerned, but certainly more riding on the contest for Olympia. With South Hobart pretty well expected to bank 3 points tomorrow up against fairly hapless Glenorchy Knights, Olympia can't afford to slip up. They need to come here and take the chocolates, and we know that Valley Road is a pretty fearsome place to travel, and not too many teams take away maximum points.
By memory, the last couple of trips Olympia have made here, they have come away with the chocolates. They've been probably them and South Hobart have been the 2 exceptions that have been able to come to Valley Road consistently and take some points away from here. But last time out at home, Devonport against Lonnie City lost 1-0 in what was a hugely disappointing result for the boys from the Northwest Coast. And make no mistake, Bobby Eves and Mount Guy would have had worse before the game. To remind them of that result 2 weeks ago, and to tell them that today's the day. It's a big day. You're welcoming the ladder leaders to your home ground, and you want to send them back south with the tail between their legs. The whistle's gone, so the players will make their way over to the entrance to the pitch, and they'll walk their way on very shortly as we're about to get underway. Officials Jimmy Portal will be the leader in lime green today. Nathan Brain and Sarah Wykley as well will be the ones running the lines.
Yeah, Jimmy Hortle, there's been some controversies with him and Devonport. And off the top of my head, I think he was officiating when they got done by Glenorchy earlier on in the season, and Josh Maskell was sent off in controversial circumstances. Interesting to see how he officiates this one. Of course, reigning referee of the year last year, so hopefully he does a good job. Big game for Olympia, as we've previously said. They've come up here, and I've got to say the warm-up, the preparation, all very, very professional. They look like they've come here to do the business, but Devonport, although they're 7th on the table, represent a fair danger. You only have to look back as far as when they knocked off South Hobart 4-2 as a convincing victory up against the reigning champions. If they can turn it on like they did that afternoon down at Darcy Street, it could be a long trip back for Olympia.
Yeah, you're right, it could be, Gilly. If I was a betting man, which I sometimes am, but not on the Tasmanian football, I'd have my money on Olympia, I think, Rig. Did you say anything to the contrary while I was gone there for a minute? Or?
No, your smart money, Nico, you're right, is on Olympia Warriors today. They're top of the table for a reason, and as we looked at before and saw on the ladder, Devonport sit at 7th. So you'd be a brave man to be backing Devonport, but the Devonport have produced some fantastic results this year and some fantastic games, as aforementioned, against South Hobart, but they've also, on the flip side of that, produced some pretty ordinary performances, as evidenced by the last home game against Lonnie City. So it just depends what version of Devonport turn up and how clinical Olympia Warriors can be. But Toddy Hingston in today for his 2nd start for the Devonport Strikers is a big in for the boys. So hopefully that'll give them a bit of spark and a bit of go, and they'll look to get a big 3 points today here at home.
We'll have to get the match manager out. There's a rogue warrior on Valley Road. He's just made his way out, away from home. That's interesting. He's going to have to probably put some stockings on. His legs will get cold a bit later on. But it's probably a big out. Dennehy for the Strikers. He's probably one that can get a bag every now and then and really put the cat amongst the pigeons. So that'll be a big out. I think Hingston came in for Dennehy, so it could be a blessing in disguise. We'll have to wait and find out.
Interesting with Hingston in, with Dennehy out, how it changes the makeup of the Devonport lineup. Will Bo Blizzard go up and into wider areas, or will Hingston switch back into defence and we'll see Mulroney into advanced positions? I'm interested to get your thoughts on that, Rick.
Yeah, look, it could be either way. The Devonport defence has been pretty settled in recent times. When Hingston has come on most of the time, he's played in the central midfield area. So it wouldn't surprise me, though, to see Bo Blizzard come out wide and leave Chilcott and Mulroney at the heart of defence. But, as I said, Bobby Eves could see it either way, depending what he wants to get out of Toddy Hingston today too.
Probably wouldn't surprise me too much, seeing as I saw the whiteboard in the rooms. Bo Blizzard, I think Bo Blizzard is starting at right wing, and Hingston is in the midfield somewhere. So that's how it will be to start, unless they wiped it all out, and I've been wrong before, don't get me wrong. But that's how they were lined up on the whiteboard. Jack Dance will be playing on the right. He's got a big job to do on Luke Isles. I would have probably liked to see Big Dommy Longlegs switch sides and take on Luke Isles. Imagine if Paul Ocon just saw the coming out of Dom Smith just dominate Luke Isles, but I don't think that's going to happen. Bobby Eves has no sense of... Well, he probably doesn't even know Paul Ocon's here, to be fair, so... we might see a change, we don't know. We're about to kick off, Rig.
We are. Olympia have the kick-off. Devonport will kick towards the bush end, and Olympia towards the Valley Road end. Mustafa comes back to Hickey. Comes back to Vandermeer, then across to Holmes, across to Devonport's attacking 18-yard box. Olympia have the ball as they switch play. And the Isles here at fullback. He comes into the feet of Hoy, lays back inside to Means, who comes back to Holmes, and they're in their 18-yard box, Olympia, and they come all the way back to the keeper, who goes long with his left foot. Dance will jump with Isles. They both miss the ball, and it's going to be a throw-in for Devonport here on their right attacking wing. Good pressure early from Devonport. Tango, Jack Dance has the throw. He comes back to Kieran Mulroney on the halfway line. Back out to Dance on the right wing. Good pressure there from Sakiris, and it's going to be a throw for Olympia on their left defensive wing.
Good to see a bit of travelling support for the Warriors. A few make the journey up to the Sunshine Coast. Luke Isles with his first real involvement, a throw-in. Down the line it goes, brought down from Gustafsson. It's with Hoy for an instant. Sharked off his boot by Dance. He 1-2s with Blizzard, loses it. And it's Holmes who pokes forward. Unconvincingly, Chilcott picks up, plays to Hingston. Early involvement is good. Plays for Gorry, out for Holden. What can he do here? Runs down the left, cuts inside, tries an early strike, and it's well saved by Lewis.
Yeah, nice signs early by Devonport. Hingston was solid in the middle there when the ball was... Here's the replays. Michael Holden with his favourable left foot, strikes it hard and low, but it's straight to the keeper. The long ball by Lewis in goals is cleared away by the head of Chilcott.
Throw in now for Woolley. Down the line he goes, finds Gustafsson. Well, he holds up, he's got ease for company, slips inside, nobody home. Chilcott will take it for Devonport, out through Holden, shows a bit of flash, pokes it back for Smith. And for Eves, they try and work their way out of defence now, Devonport, and they do so, and it's with Holden. He's got Wadawu mining him, plays in. It's Sison, who battles well with Hickey. Hickey wins out and plays with Dawu, who miscues his ball looking for Gustafsson. It's out of play for a throw-in.
So throwing in the defensive area, left back area for Devonport striker. Smith comes to the feet of Gorry, who has a little bit of time. He comes back to Smith, back to Gorry, left back. Position still, it's pinched though, and he's in on goal for Sakiris. He shoots! And it's into the side netting. A toe there it might have been from Gustafsson, as Gorry didn't quite play the ball early enough, and he was just towed in, as you can see there. And on the angle, Sakiris shot, but only into the side netting as Tommy Pearce had his front post covered. Anyway, a goal kick for the Devonport Strikers, and nearly some early drama here at Valley Road. Pearce goes long with the goal kick. It's up between Holmes and Hingston, and Holmes wins, flicked on by Hoy, and he'll chase onto his own header. He has Tango Dance for company. He dances on the ball. He comes back inside, a good ball to Hickey, who touches first time in to Gustafsson, who flicks to Sakiris, back to Gustafsson. Some nice football from Olympia to Hickey from long range. Bumps his shot into the combat wombat, Bobby Eves, and it comes to another animal, the Turtle Holden. He flicks over the top onto the left attacking wing now for Daniel Sison, who has Vandermeer for company, and Vandermeer does well to put it out. There's some end-to-end action here already at Valley Road.
Yeah, frenetic start. Both teams with nice early exchanges. I think Hickey was trying to replicate last week's work there with a long-range effort. It's Mearns now on the ball. He plays long over the defensive line of Devonport. He picks out with Dawu, and Chilcott, the big red rock, comes across. Just holds it up a little bit. Down the line he goes. This one misses Eves and trickles out for a throw-in. No, you like calling him the big red rock, Uluru. What about Red Rock Deli? Are you a big chip fan? I reckon that's Chilcott's chip of choice as the throw-in comes in. It's cut off from Chilcott. It's there for with Dawu. Back for Hickey. Looks to shift it out wide. It's cut off from Dance, and it's Hingston who's involved. Finds Blizzard. He sells Dance short, but he's up to the task. Pumps long, and Vandermeer nods back to his keeper in Lewis. Rolls out for the skipper. Holmes takes a touch in for Mearns. Holds up, back to Hickey. Nudges along. It's Gorry. He's out in front of Vandermeer. He tries to thread it through. Eves cuts it off. It's with Holden now. Gets down that left-hand side. A heavy touch lets in Hickey, and it's cut off. But Devonport advance again through Hingston this time. It's from Sison to Holden. It's just nipped off him by Mearns. It's Hoy now. Drives forward. Mulroney cuts off very unconvincingly, but luckily he has Chilcott in support. Goes back to Pearce, and Pearce sends a long ball onto
Gordon Rimmer stand.
The Gordon Rimmer stand.
Yeah, throwing for Olympia on their left wing, taken long down the wing by Isles, and Mulroney comes across well and heads clear. It'll be a throw again for Olympia on their left wing, just about level with the top of the 18-yard box. And the Isles to take. We wait for the ball. Pretty busy start, end to end. Both teams getting a few touches in and around the top of their box. Just hasn't quite come off for either side yet. We must have got away right on 2 o'clock, I reckon, Nico. It might be the first time in the history of Victory League of Valley Road we got off at 2 o'clock on the dot for a start for the Victory League fixture. Throw-in comes to the feet of Gustaf, and it's off the feet of Tango Dance, and it's going to be a throw to Isles.
Throw-in comes in to Sekiris. He touches over 2 players. It fell to the feet of Hoy, I think, there, but he was in an offside position. Yes, there was no games on the pitch prior to the game starting today. They've all been played out on the back pitch, so we've got a pretty ripe pitch at this time of year. It's looking nice and green and easy to play on as Pearce plays it to Chilcott. Chilcott looks wide to Holden, who's done a bit of fancy footwork over the top of Woolley. Woolley chases back. Vandermeer tries to slide in, but Holden goes past him as well. He skipped past Woolley, almost. No, Woolley's got a foot in there that's snuffed out the chance for Devonport.
Yeah, tough day for Harry Woolley with Michael Tootle Holden bearing down on him all day in that left wing. If Devonport can get the delivery to Holden, he'll make life very tough. But Woolley holding his own so far as Devonport come all the way back to Pearce in his box. He's going to look out wide to Dance. He finds Tango, who heads back into play, only as far as Hoy, though. He pulls it down, but one back by Tango and comes to Sison, the English import for the Devonport Strikers. Scored his first week here at first goal in the Victory League, first couple of weeks ago here against the North Knights. And now Bobby Eves right in the centre of the park. Combat Wombat, he looks wide out to Sison. It's going to get away from Sison, though, and I think it's going to run for a goal kick for the Warriors.
No, Hingston's probably not at the top of his game, but he's still pretty silky in the middle there. Adds plenty to this Devonport lineup. They've done well to weather a little bit of a storm, and now they're putting the pressure on Olympia. I think it's key that they don't let Olympia score in the first 10 or 15 because it can quickly unravel from there. We've seen what Olympia can do once they get their tail up. Lewis now with a goal kick. Drives long and strong, and it's straight to Bo Blizzard of Devonport. Brings down for Gorry, nudges it to Hingston. He does well, worries Hickey off it, plays to Dance. He miscues that ball and it's with Isles. He races away to Gustafsson, toes over the top, cut off from Chilcott. Back the other way, but it's a misplaced ball and Olympia can have it. Sison providing chase on Holmes. It's cut off from Blizzard. Hickey there to help out. Back to his gloveman, and they'll just regroup here, Olympia. Good pressure from Devonport early days. Switched up, out to Woolley. Nudges ahead for Wadawu. Slips back looking for the run of Woolley. It never comes, and Eves uses Chilcott. Oh, it's a misplaced pass and finds Gustafsson. That Swedish flair of his. Puts it forward and they wrestle Holden and Woolley. Woolley comes out with it, but nothing from it as it races out of play and out for a goal kick.
Yeah, just going back to, the Olympia fans are up and about at this stage of the year. That they can sense a premiership or a championship. Our clubhouse is pretty full with Olympia supporters, so it's good to see that they've filled the bus and brought them all the way up for their one and only trip to Devonport. As Syson puts a hard challenge in there on Shea Hickey. Mearns comes out strong, but he can't get to it in front of Smith. Smith plays a 1-2 with Gorry, now with balls with Michael Holden, who with his right foot has pinpointed, Bo Blizzard let the thing bounce, and it just held up in the perhaps a little bit soft pitch there, and it's sorted out by Luke Isles and Hoy. Hoy's played a lovely ball over the top to Wadawoo. Wadawoo looks to deliver. He's got options in the middle. The cross is far too close to Pearce, and he clears the danger.
Some lovely football there from Olympia. Just lacked the finished product, but it was beautiful build-up, particularly from Gavin Hoy, as Dance lofts over, looking for Hinkston. Vandermeer tracks it down and goes to Lewis. Olympia drive long through the American. Wadawu collides with Smith. He comes off second best, but Olympia have the ball through Woolley. To Wadawu. Woolley receives back. Drives into the box. Dance has time and space to deal with it. Very nervily sees it out of play, and Olympia will try and make something happen down this left flank.
Some good pressure and some good movement from Olympia Warriors. They have an attacking throw now on their left wing. It'll be Isles to take as he wander down with the ball. Looks for the feed of Staffson. He loses out to Dance though, and ricochets off a few, and then Tango Dance knocks it clear, and Holmes will pick it up and take a quick throw in. I dare say he'll come back to Vandermeer, and he does. His touch is good. He comes away from Syson. He comes into the bullseye in the middle of the ground and looks wide right for Wadawoo, who's going to get on this. He's got Smith. He's one-on-one. Can he go past him? Nutmeg was on. He's nearly got it round him, but Chilcott comes across and sees it out for a corner. So Wadawoo did well to win something out of that when he was 2-on-1. We'll have our first corner for the match, and comes to the Olympia Warriors here at Valley Road in this 11th minute.
They're looking good, Olympia. Came on the road knowing 3 points is what they need to stay ahead of that chasing pack in Zebras and South Hobart. Isles to deliver in. He's good over the dead ball. Delivers into the front post. Pearce up to the task, collects. Throws out, gets it immediately moving for Devonport, but it's a bit of a shocker. He finds Hickey of the opposite team. He finds Gustafsson, tries some razzle-dazzle, gets it into the box. And for Sakiris, Eves clatters one into his own teammate, and it's now in congestion. Hoy looks to wrap his boot around, it's blocked by Mulroney, who saved Devonport there. It was a nervy little moment as we see Eves try and clear. Clatters into his teammate, Dan dealing with a bouncing ball, and Wadawu on his back. Does okay in the finish, and then Mulroney makes sure it's out. So Olympia piling on the pressure here at Valley Road. And with 12 gone. Corner in from Hoy. It's over the back. Devonport had all the numbers but failed to deal with it. In the end, it's out from a corner from the opposite side.
I think a couple of occasions there, both with the clearance from Eves into Smith, and then three boys at the back post. They're all ducking under the header. Just a complete lack of communication on both cases, and if you're going to do that in your 18-yard box, then you're going to make life pretty easy for the Olympia Warriors, who need no excuses to score goals at the moment. It is at the moment. Gustafsson on the wing. He gets past Eves, gets it over, hits Vandermeer's head. Comes to Sakiris, he boys! Onto the crossbar and over. Olympia again, putting them put under the pump here, and good technique to get the volley goalward, but just couldn't get over it enough to really test piercing goals. And now Devonport have taken a short goal kick, and it's with Eves at the moment in the middle. He comes back to Mulroney.
Mulroney takes a touch, running down this right-hand side. With the utility, Kieran Mulroney. He finds Hingston with a well-placed pass. He goes to Eves, and now it's with Gorry. Been subdued early in this one. Shifts it wide, and it's an overhit ball. Sells Dance into all sorts. It's out of play for a throw-in. Luke Isles throws down the line. Looking for Gustafsson. Eves comes across to cut it off. It's with Dance, who finds Gorry. Misses his ball again. Nudged inside from Isles to Mearns. Hickey on the edge of the bullseye. Puts it out in front of Woolley and tells him to run. Unfortunately, doesn't have the turn of speed to chase that one down as it races away and out of play. And Devonport can just breathe a sigh of relief for a moment. Get their breath back and regroup.
Some 14 minutes gone here at Valley Road, and Devonport, the last 5 or so, have been right under the pump from the Olympia Warriors. Smith now has the throw. 0-0 here at Valley Road with Regan Rocket and Damien Gill. As Waterloo bursts into the box down the right, he cuts it back. Could have done better, and then Hingston's let it run. I know there was some Mulroney, and brave leave there. Comes to Dance now, and it's with Gorry in the centre of the park. He's under the pressure by Hickey and comes back to Dance, who plays it off an attacker, and a poor ball from Mulroney comes as far as Hickey. He lays back to Mearns, who has time to pick a pass. He comes back to Vandermeer, who's got 2 for company, and he finds a good ball out to Isles. He'll get out there now, I dare say. He's got Gorry for company. Can he go past him? He whips it over. Delicious ball! Oh, couldn't quite get to Sekiris. What a fantastic ball from Isles in behind that Devonport defence. That's the one where you turn the defenders around and it's in between the keeper as it comes over again, this time from Mearns, and Devonport hanging on by a thread presently as Olympia continue to put dangerous balls into the box from both wings. And you can see here Isles, a great ball in behind the defence there. Turn the defence around. Not quite enough, close enough for Pearce to get to. Just unlucky that Sekiris couldn't get on the end of that one and add to his growing goal tally.
Pearce now brings it out of the Devonport defence. He squirts the ball off the side of his boot and straight out of play and straight back for Olympia. Mearns throws, Isles throws in. It's cut off from Gorry ahead of Gustafsson, and Mulroney again sprays it out of play. Very scrappy out of defence, Devonport.
Yeah, Kieran Mulroney's last 2 touches haven't been great as Luke Isles takes the throw in. He's not known for his silky skills, Kieran Mulroney. He's more a strong battling type player. Sekiris finds a way past Dance. He's got a chance to deliver it. He does. Plays a lovely ball into the box to Hoy. Hoy squares it up to Waterloo, and the shot there is blocked by Dom Smith. Gustafsson tries to fashion a shot over his head, but it's gone out. It hasn't gone out. Jack Dance has kept it in. Plays it to Blizzard, but they're in a tight corner here. Blizzard looked to skip past Luke Isles, but he can't do so. Luke Isles showing some of his defensive skills as well as the ball ends up back with Alex Holmes, and it's going across to Vandermeer. He brings it back to Holmes. Bit of pressure there from Sison, but Holmes gets it to Mearns. It's probably what Sison perhaps does best, put that forward pressure on. Vandermeer with something ambitious, and it's into the hands safely of Pearce.
Yeah, too ambitious there from Vandermeer. Pearce at the edge of his box. Cannons forward. Looking for the run of Holden, and why not? What an electrifying player he is. He battles with Woolley. Unfortunately, the line wins out and it's out of play. Throwing from Woolley. Looking for options down that flank. Goes forward. Devonport with numbers. It's Hingston to Mulroney. Big took Mulroney. Just takes his time on it. No obvious options. So he goes back to Pearce. Being smothered here, Devonport. Played forward from Pearce. Does well to pick out Holden. Just inside their defensive half, Devonport. Holden tries to nudge out in front of Smith. And it's seen out from Olympia. Did okay in the end there, Devonport. They were looking very, very nervy in their own half. Back for Chilcott now. He nudges forward. It's a skied ball, won well by Vandermeer. Down for Hingston. Nods down for Gorry. Tries to put in the path of Holden. It's cut off from Woolley. Delivers to Adawi. Knocks inside. Bobbles up off Woolley in there for Eves. Tries to pick out Bo Blizzard. It's cut off for an instant by the Olympia defence. And runs out of play for a throw-in. So Devonport has some territorial advantage for an instant. Olympia has really piled it on in the last 5 or so. Throwing now for Sison. Down to Blizzard. To Dance. Tries to thread it through, but it's straight to Isles, and now Olympia might be on. No, his ball's overshot and it's out of play for a throw-in.
So some 18 minutes gone here, still 0-0. Olympia with the best of the chances, a few volleys and plenty of balls into the box, looking dangerous as Hoddle will bring the ball back. Jack Dance has taken the throw in an advanced position. That used to be you turn the ball over, but not so much once anymore. Tango Dance with the ball. He comes long up the wing. It's a long throw over the head of Syson. And Holmes will come over to mop that up, the captain for the Warriors. And he puts it out for a Devonport throw. Devonport have comprehensively beaten in the middle of the park at the moment. Hingston and Gorrie and Eves struggling to contain Hickey and Means and others in there who are making life very difficult for Devonport. So they've really just got to try and get their foot on the ball. The Devonport strikers in their midfield and start to get some sort of hold in this game. And with the experience of Eves and Hingston and Gorrie, you know the Devonport's time will come with that. But at the moment it's all Olympia. And speaking of Olympia, here comes Sakiris back to Hickey, who's had plenty already. He finds a pass to the feet of Waterloo out in the right wing. 1-2 with Sakiris. Waterloo has it back. He's got Dommy Longlegs for company out there on the right wing in attacking area. Goes past Smith. Smith slips over. He's got a chance to pick a pass. He does. Pearce does really well to cut that out. Read the cross well, Nick Owen.
Yes, Waterloo hasn't done really well with his last 3 crosses, to be honest. But Tom Pearce, that's a pretty good match awareness there from the young kid. He was already coming off his line when the cross was coming, and he cleaned it up again well. He's showing some good signs early on. As Chilcott doesn't clear the long ball, he gets ahead to it. It's gone to Gustafsson and then to Sakiris, but they can't control it, and it's gone back to Pearce. He will pick it up and plays it to Chilcott short. He's got a fair bit of time. He finds Smith. He could have looked further afield, but he didn't. Eves is going to be under pressure here. Gustafsson, maybe a soft free kick there. Eves didn't look to have been too impeded by the contact, but it's been paid as Mulroney plays it to Dance. Dance leans back on it, and it's just a terrible ball intended for Hingston, but they've done well to win it back Devonport, and they've spread it wide out onto the left through Dom Smith. He did look forward, but couldn't find anything. Played it to Eves. Eves looks for the run of, I think it might have been Gorrie, but it's a long way away from Gorrie. He does put in a big effort to get there, but it's gone out for a goal kick.
So it'll be another goal kick for the Olympia Warriors as Devonport have failed to produce any danger in and around the 18-yard box for some 10 minutes or so now as we tick over into the 21st minute of this fixture here at Valley Road. A big game for Olympia. They want to cement that spot at the top of the table, and Smith is up well over Waterloo from the goal kick. Comes to Holden, whose pocket is pinched by Hickey, but Hickey's headed out, and Smith will take a quick throw. Comes into Gorrie, who's got a bit of time and space. It's been a rare gift for Gorrie so far this game, and he turns Sakiris, but turns it over nearly after slipping. Hickey cleverer than Blizzard. I was cleverer than Blizzard and wins it. A good touch on that occasion from Mulroney. From Dance back to Mulroney, who comes all the way back to Pearce. Good pressure again from Olympia, turning Devonport around, making him play back as Chilcott now comes out with the ball for Devonport. He looks long up towards Holden, who has Woolley for company in the air. Holden wins only as far as Vandermeer, who heads clear, and now Hickey, composed as ever, takes a few touches, turns it around, and comes back into Woolley. It comes back to Means. He tries to thread through to Waterloo. Chilcott cuts out though. The big red rock for Uluru for the strikers there. The big red beard comes to the combat wombat. Bobby Eves lays back to Pearce in his goals. He comes short again to Chilcott, who'll turn and try to pick a pass. He clips it out to Smith. It makes life difficult when he could have just knocked it on the deck, but it does get to Holland, and then back to the combat wombat, who takes a few touches, gets around a couple, and then Chilcott comes to help him out. He plays it out to Smith, and Devonport have kept the ball here. Haven't particularly gone anywhere, but they're at least making Olympia work to get it back. And Eves now comes forward. He slips it through to Eves. He's 1-on-1. Can he get to the keeper? No, he can't get to the ball. An excellent effort in goals there to come out and pick up that ball as Blizzard advanced. It looked dangerous for the strikers. Just a little bit overplay from Eves, Nick Owen.
Yeah, I think the difference between the two teams at the moment is in the midfield. You're right, but Devonport are just standing off their midfield opponents when Olympia have got the ball, whereas Olympia are pressing pretty hard every time. On that occasion when Eves played the through ball, he was under immense pressure before that. So Olympia probably worked on that as they've earned themselves a free kick. It's going to be taken by Means. And my man, Alex Holmes, just strolling forward. Means takes the kick. It's an in-swinging one just in front of the keeper. Pretty dangerous, but Kieran Mulroney clears. Gustafsson, I think it was, headed back into the box, but it's cleared again, and well and truly cleared by Blizzard.
Didn't make any mistake with that clearance, just got it up, and Devonport will now push up and try and make Olympia play out of their half. But it's on a very high line. They're pretty deep, you have to say. A big kick from the Olympia keeper. Maybe that's why Devonport are standing so far behind that halfway line and so deep. But it allows Olympia's midfielder a bigger space to come pick up that ball as deep as the Devonport defence retreats. And that's been where Olympia have had a lot of their joy with Hickey and Mears and Gustafsson and others, making life difficult for Devonport. The throw-in comes from Woolley to the feet of Gustafsson. He flicks it to Hickey. Chilcott cuts out though before Hickey can get a shot away. Mears is up and heads towards Hoy. Dan's heads in his head, ends up with Hoy. Comes back to Isles. Comes in to the feet of Hickey, who turns, finds out Hoy out wide. Can he get a crossover? Has Dance for company. Does him one way then the other and goes round him. And then Tango did well to turn it around and poke it out, and it's going to be another corner for the Olympia Warriors, Damien Gill.
They're racking up early days. Is that fourth or fifth now, Nico? That was the fourth, so full corners for Olympia. They're usually pretty lethal from the corners. Hoy there, Gustafsson offering short. He opts to go long and strong into the box. It's deep and it's there for Vandermeer. He loses his position. Nudges it over in the end, or it might have even come off a blue shirt in Devonport. We'll see this one again. It's off Mulraney. Big Chook Mulraney nodding that one over the bar. So another corner for Olympia. So they find the ball again. Hoy, Gavin Hoy's certainly been some inclusion for Olympia. Delivers in from the left. It's a good cross, but it's cut off by Mulraney. Still there, though, for Olympia. Holmes brings it down. Fortunately, it went out of play prior to that, so I think it's another corner this time from the opposite side. Luke Isles strolling over. So a crowded box, a lot of big bodies in there.
Mulraney's doing a good job of clearing these. I don't know how long he's been able to hold out. That one goes in to the near post and it almost takes Pearce by surprise, but he hangs on to it. And they're playing out down through the left now through Eves in the unfamiliar left back position. Smith in the unfamiliar midfield position. Tried to play a 1-2. Michael Holden's back there as well. After the corner, there's a few people all over the place. The ball tried to go into Hingston. But Means clears it up. He looks to thread a ball to Gustafsson but can't find the ball. And now it's picked up by Syson and Gorry in the midfield, but they can't maintain possession, and Riggs getting frustrated next to him. He's slapping his leg as Shea Hickey dances past Syson, and I think he's earned himself nothing. He's earned Devonport
Oh, look at that. He is filthy with that. He thought he'd done very, very well just to weasel his way in and earn a corner, but not happening for big Shea Hickey, alias, of course, Barry Pound. Matthew Rhodes and Tessie Soccer Central, a big fan of his. Driven along from Pearce beyond halfway. It's cut off by Wadawu. It's all Warriors under it. It's Hingston now that picks it up. Plays for Smith, forward for Syson, back to Hingston. Lofts one over the top, and it's Holden who bursts onto it. Does well and earns Devonport a corner.
Bit of reprieve there for Devonport. They got their way out, and Syson managed to get it back into Hingston. Then ball over the top to Holden, Turtle Holden. His quick pace was a bit of trouble for Woolley as Devonport take a quick short one. Eves now has it a chance to deliver. Only straight into Wadawu though, unfortunately. Better off just swinging it over from the corner in that case. But now it is Gustafsson who has two for company, and he shows good pace to for Smith to backtrack. Smith, good toe in though, and he does well. Smith now comes forward, and Devonport with a chance to make Olympia do some defending. Hingston takes a touch, brings it back to Smith, who flicks it over to Holden. Woolley does well to clear though, and it's going to be a throw on the left wing for the Devonport Strikers. Hingston's a name we haven't had to call so often, but the more we call it, the more you know Devonport are getting into this game. But Smith now will have the ball on the left wing for throw, and Devonport will try and build something meaningful here after a corner which they wasted just prior. What can they do with this throw in a better position? Turned it over, and Wadawu pumps it forward rather hopefully more than deliberately, and it's going to be a throw to Devonport. Bradley Chilcott will take that. He'll leave it for Smith, and there is just some 20 into the 29th minute here, and it's still 0-0.
Down the line it comes, and it's cut off again by Woolley, who's had his hands full early in this contest up against Turtle Holden. He's really emerged as one of the players of the competition this season. He's been a good player in recent years, but he's taken that extra step in 2015. Throwing comes in now from Smith to Gorry. Turns to Hingston. He's getting more involved in this contest. Nudges back to his defence. A heavy touch from Mulroney. Almost sells Devonport into trouble. They cough it up. It's Woolley. Does well. Threads through to Hickey. To Mearns. To Hoy. The names combine in that midfield for the Warriors. Bursts away does Hoy. To Sakiris. It bobbles off the back of his boot. He does well to play it back for Hoy. Goes one way. Looks the other. Puts it over the top. But no runners coming. And the race is out of play. And Devonport just cool their jets for a moment. As when Olympia are bursting through midfield. Looking very, very dangerous. And they're putting Devonport under the pump with some serious pace.
Tom Pearce now to take the goal kick for Devonport. Plays it long to about the halfway line. Now the head of Hingston. It's gone to Sison. Blizzard gets a touch. Goes back to Hingston. Hingston curls the ball towards Daniel Sison. Alex Holmes looks like he's going to get a toe in. Lewis was in close attendance, just flopping about like a beached whale. The danger is cleared for the time being by Olympia, as Hingston is a little bit slow on the ball, maybe a little bit rusty at this stage. Mans dispossesses him. Hickey with the one touch gets it off to Holmes. Holmes to Isles, who's now playing in a left back position. Back to Holmes, into Hoy. Jack Dance dispossesses him. Good chance here for Devonport. They've opened them up a little bit, but Sison with a terrible touch, and it's cleared away there by Hickey, I believe.
Now, at the risk of sounding critical, boys, I like the work of Daniel Sison, but just looking a little bit off this afternoon. A couple of key touches where it looks like Devonport could have opened them up. He's just misplaced balls, as there's two on the field right now, speaking of balls. Play goes on, though, regardless. Hoy plays forward for Sakiris. Back to Hoy. Gets by Gorry and goes in to Sakiris, the number 9. Finds his number 10. They just hold up a little. Well done from Devonport. And Bo Blizzard cannons into Mearns, makes him earn it. It's out to us now. Delivers to the back post. It was a nice bit of delivery from the youngster, but no runners coming. With Darwood quite a bit behind the plays. We'll watch this one again. And Bo Blizzard, bang, straight into the back of Mearns. And that is the rough side. You see the silk on the other end, but he doesn't mind a bit of a contest, does he, Nico?
Not the little bomber jacket. He's tough as nails. There's Hingston again with a rusty touch. Hickey's picked up the loose ball. Timely header by Chilcott. Hingston gets a toe in. Sison's picked it up here. Looks to skip past a couple of midfielders there, and he's delivered to Michael Holden, who's got the pace to get there first. Can he deliver the ball? He's got Woolley to contend with. Does a little dance. Woolley's done well to clear it away, and it's gone out for a corner.
Yet again, that threat of Michael Holden. He's forced the corner there, but it could have been a lot more. You just see panic straight up from Woolley, because Holden is so dangerous. He came across on that occasion, saw it out for a corner. Devonport's second of the afternoon.
Proving to the best outlet for Devonport so far. Holden playing high in that left wing, and the Devonport have managed to get a few balls in behind him, but Woolley has done enough so far to stop anything eventuating in a goal. Another short one from Devonport, not willing to swing it over. Eves does now to the head of Hingston, who had a glorious chance 7 or 8 yards out to put that one in the back of the net. Here it comes from Eves in the replay. You can see it come over. Hingston all by himself. No one jumps with him, and just didn't get the purchase on the header that he would have liked. And Hingston, I dare say, in a bit better touch, you'd see that buried into the bottom corner and leaving the keeper with no chance. But Hingston will be disappointed with that effort, but Devonport will be buoyed by the fact that they've created a chance here in this first half.
Yeah, best chance of the game so far for Devonport. And I think you're right, Rig. Todd Hingston in better touch would probably finish that one off, but you could see he wasn't happy that he didn't put it away. Play goes on. Chilcott with the ball in the Devonport defence, finds Blizzard to Smith, to Eves. It bobbles off his boot and lets him Mearns, but does well to get by him and plays Blizzard. Wadawu providing chase, so he uses Holden as the outlet, who nips inside, gets it to Smith, but Mearns wins well, and seen clear from Miles to Tango Dance. To Gorry, who does well, sells them out, comes out on the left, fires a shot, picks out Lewis. Lewis saves well. It's there for Blizzard. He's brought down. The ball's still alive, though, and Woolley sees it out of play. Devonport players asking some questions of Hordle in the middle. Thought there was more to that. We might get a replay.
Wow, we Turtle Holden bursts in there, but we see replay there. What are your thoughts, Damien Gill?
He's probably got a fair shout there, Bo Blizzard. I don't think Woolley got too much ball. If we can just see it again, Ash Wilkes. We watch Harry Woolley in the corner of your screen. Bo Blizzard gets a touch. Woolley just clatters more or less into him. I think if Hordle had the benefit of a replay, he'd be awarding a penalty as a throwing comes long and strong from Lewis, and now Olympia might be away. Gustafsson on the ball. Gorry providing chase. Tango inside. Puts it in for Olympia. It was a nice option, but nobody there. Nobody home for the Warriors. It's Bobby Eves now who plays through to Sison. Devonport really coming into this contest, really building. Two of their best movements have been their last two. Vandermeer on the ball. Plays long and left. Looking for Hoy, who picks it up ahead of Dance. Looks inside. Finds Gustafsson, who moves it well to Isles. Looks to weasel past a couple. Beats Gorry. Plays for Gustafsson. Isles is still running on. He lays off to Hoy instead, who finds Hickey. Hickey goes early, and Pearce touches over the bar and out for a corner.
Had a few quiet minutes there, and the game sprung to life the last five all of a sudden as Olympia moved the ball well there, switching it from that left wing over to the far side of the 18-yard box to allow Hickey to get a shot on goals, and he really tested Tommy Pearce there. But here's Holden with a delicious strike on goals, pinching Bruce McAvaney's word there, forcing a good save from Lewis to his right, and then we end up with Woolley clattering into Blizzard, which was a good shout for penalty for the strikers. Not awarded by Jimmy Hordle in goals. And then coming down the other end of the pitch, Hickey testing Pearce, who tapped over the bar, and Olympia now had their 7th or 8th corner of this fixture. So some life here the last 5 minutes. It's over. Pearce doesn't get to it. It comes to Sakiris, who volleys home just from the penalty spot.
Really disappointing for Devonport. They've weathered a fair old storm, and you got to say that's a pretty soft goal in the finish. We'll watch it again as Isles delivered in. It was good delivery. Vandermeer contested with Dance. Dance got actually a head on it, and it sold Pearce into trouble, who'd come off his line. Sakiris there latched onto the free ball and fired into the back of the net. 1-0 to the ladder leaders. Olympia FC Warriors, 36 minutes gone. Smith on the ball now. As Devonport try and peg one back. They've been pretty good prior to that goal. Holden picks up the ball, tracks back into his own half, does well, does young Turtle Holden, earns a foul. He's been bright. They need to find him more. To Smith. Out to Eves. Gets by with Darwoo and puts it inside for Chilcott. Bobbles off his boot and sells Smith into some trouble. He can't bring it down. Out for a throw-in. It's Hickey, of all people, who throws in. To Sakiris. Receives back to Hickey. Nudge back from Darwoo. Sakiris over the top. Darwoo runs in, but it's Pearce who's there first. Devonport Glubman. I reckon that goal is burning on his mind. Didn't really come out with a great presence. Just sort of more or less came out and didn't claim the ball as his own. As a result, it ended up in the back of his net as Hoy throws in to Gustafsson. Back to Hoy. Looks inside. Finds Mearns. He's got Gorry. Plays out in front on that left channel and is blocked from Dance and out of play. Isles in for Darwoo. He's got plenty of Devonport players around him. Does well to thread through to Gustafsson. He feeds back, but he's offside. And Devonport rebuild. 1-0 to the Warriors. As we'll see that goal again. Isles, it was in. Pearce came out. It wasn't the most confident approach from him. Came off the dance head, straight down for Sekiris. And he put it straight into the back of the net. Manu Sekiris really played himself into form in the last few weeks.
He has, and his goal tally continues to grow. You know, if Pearce comes for that corner there, he has to impact the contest, and he didn't. He has to put it out of play or out of sight, and he didn't either of those, unfortunately, for young Tommy Pearce. And Dance's header just unfortunately ended up coming back to a dangerous position, and Olympia, all Sekiris had to do was enable his poacher's sense, and he did just that and volleyed home into a pretty much vacant net. As we now have Gustafsson on the left wing for Olympia in an attacking position. Hoy now has Gori for trouble, and a tackle that's not out of place in state of origin there from Gori, I'd have thought, as he drags Hoy to ground. But quick free kick, bit of a waste there, but Olympia still have it anyway. Comes over to Hickey, who can touch and shoot. He does. Oh, it pings off the crossbar as a half-hearted hand from Pearce didn't see it over. A nutmeg on Dan, sees it to Gustafsson from Hoy. He shoots into Eves, back to Hoy. He's got Blizzard for company. Can he find Hickey, who hits first time? And it's a difficult bouncing, bobbling ball. It would have taken a stunning effort from there across his body to put that on target. Couldn't quite get it. But here's Hickey's effort. We just saw strike from distance. That's nearly 30 yards and rattles off the crossbar as Pearce kind of looks like he thought it was going over and left it. It dipped late and Rick thundered into the crossbar as Pearce comes short to Mulroney, who tries to help it on to Dance in the right back position and just gets to him in the end as Gori now has it. Isles for company. He turns it over to Mearns, to Isles, to Hoy. A little ball in behind here. Holds onto it maybe a little too long. And Eves picks it up. He has time to come through as we tick into the final 5 minutes of this first half before out of time. And Hingston, again, haven't called his name in a while, gets on it. Holden beats two. Now he gets Olympia backtracking. He goes past a couple, but a super tackle there from Jake Vandermeer, I believe, and stops Holden's run. And now Sekiris charges the Devonport defence. Holden tracks back and tries to win it back, and he does as he helps out Mulroney. And now with Hingston, who shapes his body nicely and earns himself a bit of space, coming back to himself. Into Eves, back to Mulroney, and Devonport have the ball, and comes all the way back to Pearce, who plays to Chilcott. And Devonport have been a little better the last 10 minutes or so than they were for that, certainly that middle 10-15 minutes of that game where it was all Olympia. Devonport through Holden have created a few bright chances, but it really is Olympia on top, and Dance a bit lackadaisical when it came to trapping the ball there, and it bounced over his feet. Throw into Isles, back to Mearns, but talking of lackadaisical, that was a bit lackadaisical from Luke Isles. Hope Paul Ocon wasn't watching that touch.
Out of play for a throw-in. Dance to bring it in. Down the line. Looking for Sison. It's one from Olympia to Moons. Out to Gustafsson to Isles, who gets running at them. Plays for Hoy. Puts it into the middle. Blizzard treads on it. Controls it. Puts it out for Sison, who's a bit average. Plays back for Blizzard. Nips by one, and it's pumped up the line. Holmes should be able to track it down. Does well to watch it over and out of play. Throw now from the big centre half. Centrally he goes. Finds Hickey. To Vandermeer. To Lewis. American pumps along. It's brought down from Smith. Hickey picks it up. Out in front of Sekiris. He runs with it to Sekiris. He's got Smith providing chase. In the end, the line beats everyone, and it's out of play for a goal kick.
Just the class of, as we see again, Sekiris being slammed into the fence. The class of Olympia is just taken hold in the last 5 minutes. It's not hard to see why they're top of the ladder with the performance that they're starting to put on. Just shots rattling the crossbar and just shutting down with pace. They're just not giving Devonport a moment's peace. As Luke Isles looks to cut it out, and he does cut it out. Tango Dance did get a toe in, but can't get it to Gori. Gori with the throw in. Olympia have crowded the area with numbers, and I don't reckon Devonport are going to get out of this easily, and they don't, as Mearns collects the ball and wins the throw in for Olympia. Just the weight of numbers and the fitness and the skill, it's just on show at the moment by Olympia, and Devonport will be do well just to hold out to half time again and regroup in the sheds.
That's it, isn't it, Nico? They weathered a fair old storm in the middle patch of the game. Probably gave up a goal in their brighter period, but now they're just going to make sure it doesn't get uglier. So Mulroney goes back to Pearce. Across to the left. It's Smith who finds Chilcott, the big red rock, Uluru. Forward for Hingston. Again, almost coughs up for Devonport. It's Eves to Mulroney. Forward, picked up by Gorry. Holds it up. It's blocked by Isles, but it's still there for Devonport through Blizzard. He finds Gorry again, who's hasn't been himself this afternoon. It comes forward for Olympia and Sakiris, who tries to bring it under his spell, but he's offside. Yeah, Adam Gorry. That Devonport midfield, I think Bobby Eves doing a lot of the work. I think Gorry's been rather subdued, as it looks like he and Blizzard maybe just switched it up for a little bit, Nico.
It looks that way. A little bit more hardness in the midfield maybe, but Olympia really pressed with pretty much their five forward players press hard, and then the rest just sort of sit back and enjoy the shows. Hickey pressures Hingston, but Hingston this time skips past. There's not much chasing there. As Michael Holden picks the ball up, fires off it. Ooh, that's taken a deflection, I think. Michael Holden's just getting his sights set on some of these top corners. As Holmes is wrong-footed, the ball only had to sit here for Holden. Goes to strike. It's really hard to commentate in slow motion, and the deflects off Vandermeer, I think, and it's gone out for a corner. As Sison swings in one to the front post, but it's
a shocker.
Nobody home there as the ball gets cleared out to Smith. He looks long again, but this time cleared by Holmes. Strike number 3 for Devonport coming up. Here comes the press, and they've won the ball back in a dangerous position as Hoy picks up the ball and plays it to Sakiris. He's left one-on-one with Jack Dance. Does a little dance, does a little back heel, but he cannot find Hoy, and Jack Dance is going to clear this up. He's got time here, but that perceived pressure, there hasn't got a midfield option. He skips past Isles, toes it forward, but only as far as Vandermeer. Adam Gorry managed to get a toe in, and the ball's gone out for a Devonport throw-in.
Out for a throw-in, as you said, Nico. Tango Dance to bring it back in for Devonport. He does. Down for Blizzard. It looks to return it back. To be honest, it's an absolute shocker. Just gives Olympia the ball back, just puts it straight out of play. Not what you want if you're Devonport strikers. Down the line it goes. Mulroney, who's battled hard back there today, does well, but then undoes his good work with a poor pass. Gives it straight to Hoy, who finds Gustafsson. He puts it back. The tantalising ball to the penalty spot. Nobody home. And that's half-time here at Valley Road. A 1-0 lead to the ladder leaders, Olympia. The goal coming through Sakiris. But it's been a very interesting half of football. Devonport maybe fortunate at times to only be one adrift. And then at other times you could have said they probably could have stolen one themselves. How do you say it, Rick?
Yeah, look, on the way to play, Olympia deserve their lead and perhaps a further lead, but Devonport have created some spark and some moments, particularly through Michael Holden getting down the left and creating some havoc. Obviously, he picked one up in midfield and drilled one from 30 yards, which forced a good save. But outside of that, and Todd Hingston's really good chance for a headed goal from a corner, and another couple of chances to Holden, one from an angle very early on in the game, and then one when Hingston played him through later. There hasn't been too much joy for the Devonport strikers, but 1-0 Devonport will still give themselves every chance to get themselves back into this game in the second half, Nico.
Well, I disagree with you here, Riggy, as our cameraman's just trying to get a little bit of a shot of Paul Oake on there, I think, just explaining himself and what's going on. I reckon Olympia are just dominating at the moment, and all their skill, composure, their pace, they're shutting down. I don't like the next 45 minutes for Devonport, and the reason, although Olympia dominated a fair portion of that half, they didn't really get a lot of shots on goal in that probably first half an hour. They got a couple, but probably with their dominance, they didn't get as many shots as they would have liked. But then in the last 15 minutes of that half, they really turned on the style, Riggy. And wowee, there is no doubt for mine that they're the best in the competition.
As the legs tied, the Devonport defensive effort trailed off near the end of that half. It was obviously then that Olympia began to really apply some of the pressure and rattled a few shots off the crossbar, and young Tommy Pearce unfortunately couldn't get to that corner, which resulted in the goal for Sekiris, the well-placed volley from the Jack Dan's header. So and Olympia have had plenty of strikes from distance as well. They haven't really created outside of that too many clear-cut, say, one-on-ones chances against Pearce, but that's probably because Devonport have been defending deep and not allowing Olympia to get in behind simply because of that. And the way Olympia have been keeping the ball, they've had to break Devonport down in different ways, which has mostly been through balls from wide. And then working across the top of the box and getting strikes from there. But and Devonport, as said through Holden, that's how they've managed to look dangerous. But that's an outlet they're going to be relying on too much possibly, and if Olympia can just tidy that up, then they should have no problem walking away with a couple of points from Valley Road. When Hingston has looked sharp, he's been the one that's created chances for Devonport and nearly got on the end of that headed from the corner, but it looks like it could be a long 45 minutes for Devonport. We'll have to wait and see what unfolds.
We will. Let's go through the highlights of the first half as Ash the cameraman tees it up. Holden's been their real spark, hasn't he, Nico?
He has. He's the shining light for Devonport. He has been all year as Sekiris here with an opportunity early on and slams it into the side. Sekiris has liked his game so far. Wadawu, who's probably played a pretty good game, but his crosses have been found wanting something. As the ball ricochets there. It's Devonport don't want to watch too much of that as Hoy comes in and slams one gold.
We see in this, Nico, in the highlights, there's a fair few crossbars and a fair bit of desperate defending from Devonport, and some of it not all that convincing.
Well, I think Devonport have probably come into the game with the right tactic of playing a deep defensive line. There's cleaned up there by Lewis. It's probably a tactic. As soon as you turn out the Devonport defensive line around, they're in all sorts, and that's probably where Hingston should have done better with the header. I just think they're playing that deep line. They're under pressure a little bit, but in the first half an hour it showed that with that deep defensive line, there's claims for a penalty.
Yeah.
I might have given that one, Jimmy Hordle, but nevertheless.
Big moment, really, in the game, because if that had been awarded, you think Devonport go 1-0 up, but instead it came down the other end. Pearce came out. He didn't kill the contest, and it fell for Sekiris, latched onto it and finished it off, and then Olympia claimed a lead they deserve, mind you. And we see Hickey there almost make it 2-0. But yet again, as I said, Holden was the spark, really. As we see a couple of highlights, he's on the end of things and really causing that Olympia defence some troubles, and he's been the only real one for Devonport that has done that.
Bar the Hingston highlight there, I think you see every other highlight for Devonport was of Holden, but there you see the challenge from Woolley on Blizzard, and it looks like Blizzard takes a little touch away from Woolley, and then Woolley clatters into his legs as Woolley kind of slips. You can certainly make an argument from Devonport's standpoint that that's a penalty. And Devonport will be disappointed not to be awarded that, but again, on balance of play, Olympia do deserve their lead, definitely going into this half-time break. I was interested in your analysis there too, Nico, about Devonport keeping that deeper line. I speculated during the half why Devonport seemed to be staying so deep even when they cleared the ball, and that's, I think as you said, so they aren't getting turned around by the pace and threat of Olympia up front. So an interesting tactic there from Bobby Eves, which for the majority of the matches seemed to work, and the one goal didn't come from getting in behind, it came from that corner. So tactically, Devonport, I suppose, have prevented a bit of a whitewash scoreline, which is always a possibility when you're playing the ladder leaders, particularly after they are in such a good mood after some big victories in previous weeks. But you know, it's going to be an uphill battle for Devonport this second half.
Yeah, Bobby's a bit of a realist in the change rooms. He knows that Olympia are probably the better side on paper. He went down to South Hobart with the same attitude of playing a deep defensive line, and it paid dividends on that occasion. So he's probably tried something similar here. He knows he's got the attacking threat of Holden up front, who can, score one or two in quick succession every now and then. So that's probably his tactic, and rightfully so. They'd love to have Dennehy out there just to be able to probably have that extra bit of pace up front and that goal-scoring prowess. He does like scoring on Valley Road, but he's unavailable today. So I think Eves will probably be pretty happy going in with the one goal down, and hopefully they can manufacture, if you're a Devonport fan, they can manufacture something in the second half.
Yeah. Well, we might just have a little bit of a breather here at Valley Road. Just sit back and relax and wait for a big second half of PS4 Victory League action to come. Can Devonport rein in the ladder leaders? Well, Devonport fans, Nick Owen and Rick Douglas certainly hope so. We'll be back with all the action in not too long. Stay with us. on. Olympia are back out on the pitch, looking very enthusiastic, of course, with a 1-0 lead at this point over the home side, Devonport Strikers. Looks like they've come out unchanged. Shay Hickey having some pointed directions to some of the young ones. I think he's been pivotal coming into this Olympia group, just a bit of a steely resolve and really kept them on task throughout the season. I think
Hickey keeps the ball, he delivers well. He's been really pivotal today as well. Now you can see here we've got the slice of cheese stubby, Damien Gill for best on ground, and the same person will pick up the 3 Older Plus Media Award votes. Who do you see is the best of field so far?
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? I think Gavin Hoy's been pretty good. I think Shay Hickey as well, as you said. I think those two in the Olympia midfield have been very, very busy, so they're probably two of the standouts for mine. And Holden has been Devonport's real star. If they can feed him more, he could easily take this game by the scruff of the neck and bag himself a slice of cheese stubby.
Nico, your thoughts on the best of field thus far?
Yeah, I'm a bit the same. If Holden can get Devonport up, he'll be the man. But I just find it hard to split some of these blokes from Olympia, to be honest. I agree with everything you've said about the Olympia players, and you know, another 3 or 4 could probably put their hands up. Means has been pretty good in the middle. Isles on the left.